What is up, everybody? Today is January 14th, 2026, and I have another trade recap for you. I caught a flawless short setup for my inversion system known as SIS, and it absolutely printed the entire Discord 8. That being said, my system, called SIS, is one of the easiest and simplest IFEG models in the space. If you are looking to learn, I live trade every single day entirely for free in the Discord. I break down my full model in there, have a bunch of resources. Pop in, you're missing out if you're not in the server. That being said, let's get right into the recap. All right, so this is what we were working with coming into the morning, and I want to really emphasize my daily bias I had today. So for high time frame analysis, what I noticed is we had traded into a 1 hour fair value gap. And this was at 7 a.m., so this was early on in the morning. This is pre-market. And you'll notice we're kind of in a mini downtrend here. We made a little break of structure on the high time frame to the downside, inverse this 1 hour fair value gap, so I know we're going to be bearish. It was also a 4 hour that we inversed. And on top of this, for draws, what we had is a very clear trend line of stacked up lows below. So when you see a bunch of lows stacked up like this in a trend line format, these lows are going to want to get ran because we have so many liquidic draws in one tight area of price. We have low, 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 low. That means there's a ton of resting orders at this price line. So these are going to want to get ran. Once one of them gets ran, you can expect the rest of them to get ran because there's just so many stop losses sitting there that these are usually going to get pumped through. So that was one of the extremely strong draws I had for a bearish daily bias today. That being said, on the flip side, if we inverse this 1 hour, I would have flipped bias to bullish, targeting these highs and these highs. But for the main part, I wanted to see a bearish sell-off because of this inversion and because of us being inside of this gap. Now, going into pre-market on the 15-minute time frame, we had 8:30 PPI news today. So news candle dropped, and on the 1 minute time frame, we didn't get much. It was this candle right here. Bearish reaction. We left data highs behind, so that was something that I was considering, but I wasn't too concerned about us trading to data highs. Even though it's a super strong draw, I wasn't concerned about us trading back to these highs because one thing I want you to make note of is if we go to the 5 minute time frame, this data candle pushed above and into this 5 minute fair value gap, but rejected it. And on top of rejecting this 5 minute fair value gap, which was inside of the 1 hour fair value gap we were in, we started seeing us inverse gaps to the downside. So when you see a rejection like this, despite there being a data high, sometimes that high is protected because this high had a strong influx of orders, but we got a bearish reaction off of it, meaning this could be sending price lower. Rather than being a draw, this could be sponsoring a move for the day, which also lined up perfectly with my bias. That being said, adding more to this bearish confirmation, on the 15-minute time frame, we also saw a 15-minute inversion to the downside. And I'm going to make this red. The reason I'm making this red is because this was my condition for the day. If you don't know what conditions are, that's kind of something that's telling you, okay, I saw something that's confirming my bias is right. So if this holds and is respected, so if this inverse holds, I think we're going to be bearish because of this condition I set before I even look to enter a trade. Being totally honest too, you could have entered off of this 15-minute inversion to the downside. You could have taken this inverse and just targeted this trend line. If I was trading my swing account, that's how I would have taken this. You could have got really good RR. Just very good condition. And if your daily bias is right, that trade will hit. So for swing traders, that could have been a trade, but that wasn't what I was looking to take. I do that totally separately. Now, this is what the 5 minute chart looked like coming into market open. It was 9:25 at this point in time. And you can see we're still respecting this inversion. We're respecting this fair value gap. I'm looking for us to trade lower. It looks like my daily bias is right. And I'm going to put my bias on screen now. Read it. I sent this out just before market open. Totally everything I just covered, but just in written format, this is what I was looking for the day, and I was only looking for trades that lined up with my bias. Once I started coming into days with a strong bias like this, my profitability switched to being so much more probable. Literally, if you can form a strong daily bias and get really good at making one of these, your system will work so much better. You want to think of it like you're trading with the trend. Price is telling a story. How should my story play out based on these confluences? That being said, I'm going to let a few market open candles play out, but considering we're respecting all of this, all I'm looking for is off market open, some manipulation to the upside, and then an inversion entry to catch the short that I was looking for. I'm not looking for us to trade back to data highs. Like I said, I thought it was going to be protected, but I still want to see some sort of manipulation, some sort of liquidity sweep. So even though it was going to be a low time frame sweep, I want to see us trade towards these highs, maybe towards these highs. If we can trade towards those, I thought we were going to be bearish on the day. That's what I was looking for to confirm my setup and get my entry. That being said, I'll let price play out. So you'll see we came down, made a little move down, started running some of that trend line, but I wasn't looking for any entries yet because what I noticed, exactly as I thought, despite coming down and making a move lower and sweeping a low, we still had the rest of the trend line left. We manipulated higher, swept out these highs, but left data highs behind. I thought it was protected, and as of now, this is holding true. This baby 1 minute fair value gap held. We saw a slight reaction off of it. I'm looking for the highest time frame inversion of the downside to catch a short. Cleaning up my screen now, the highest time frame inversion and the inversion I was looking to take was this 1 minute fair value gap. If this 1 minute gap was disrespected, I was looking to take shorts through some of the trend lines and the most obvious draws that I saw. So if this bullish fair value gap was ran through, I'm entering short. As for draws, I'll pop to the 15-minute time frame and show you that now. So looking at our trend line, first obvious draw we have is going to be, of course, this leg right here, but that's not a target. This was the leg that we made after market open. This is just some sort of liquidic point that we have to be aware of. The obvious targets were this low and this low. And if you're feeling really weird, you could start going for the rest of the trend line, which would be this low down here. And we have another low right above that too. So these two lows were going to be like kind of like the higher time frame trend line draws. But for the lower time frame, those first two 15-minute lows are what was most obvious to me. This was kind of the bottom of the trend line that I was looking for. I didn't know if we were going to trade all the way down here. It didn't line up with the trend line. Therefore, I wasn't looking to take a trade towards there. I wanted to get my small piece of the pie and see what happens. All right, so all I'm looking for is an inversion of this 1 minute to take my entry. So I'm going to let price slowly play out, and you'll see we trade lower, but we don't get an inversion there. I'm not in yet. We're chopping around for a bit. We trade back into this 1 minute fair value gap, and you will see after trading into that 1 minute fair value gap, it is held, and we get the inversion on this candle right here. All right, so with this inversion, even though it was really close to not inversing, I entered short. This was all I needed. We formed a break of structure to the downside, respected this 1 minute fair value gap, so we have an order block protecting your stop. When we put it in an order block, you don't need to see price trade back to the swing highs to know your trade could still play out. If we have an order block, it shouldn't trade back through it, so I just was putting my stop at the top of this 1 minute fair value gap. We shouldn't trade back through that if we're going to be truly bearish, so I don't need some massive TJR swing stop like this. Top of this fair value gap is fine because we have an order block. I only do that if we form an order block or have some sort of protected stop loss, which we did. We had two things protecting us. We had this order block protecting us, and we had data highs being protecting us from going higher. So I did not think we were going to trade higher, so I can use a tighter stop loss. That being said, obvious break-even point was at the internal low right here. That would be my break-even point for the trade, and for my take profit, I was going to use the first 15-minute leg that we had to the downside, which would have been this leg or this leg. Either or was fine. I'll show you how I played it. So I entered on the 1 minute inversion, targeting either of these 15-minute lows. I wanted to see these get hit too, just because they were so obvious. They were so stacked up. This one was farther away, so I figured I'd go for that low unless we saw a rejection off of this low. But I was looking to get a little better RR. I was targeting the second 15-minute low. Let the trade play out. So you'll see, within two candles, hit the break-even point. I went break-even on the trade, took all risk off the table, and let this play out. Start slowly chopping down. Just edged the first 15-minute low. Wasn't out of anything yet. And we hold this 1 minute inception gap we made after trading higher. Hold that inception gap. Hit the final take profit, which is my full take profit. And we trade back towards and through the rest of the trend line, you can see, as expected. But I did not hold the trade through here. I had no reason to trade through the whole entire trend line. I caught literally 336 ticks on this short. I got my piece of the pie. That was a big trade. It was almost 2RR. My win rate is 70 to 80%. I don't need to be catching 5R trades all the time. I don't need to be doing that. I just need to get my piece of the pie and get out where I know it's going to be most high probable position to get out at. So got out. We respected the inception gap, which I knew we probably would, considering we had a lot of trend line. Hit the final take profit, and that's where I got my piece of the pie. I didn't need to hit some extended clip insane trade. I'm not looking to impress anybody. Just get my piece of the pie and get out, and that was exactly what I did. That being said, I really think price action's starting to clean up. Saw great trades today, saw great opportunities yesterday. Nonetheless, January's been treating us a lot better than it did the first week. So we're doing good. Discord's growing great. If you want to join, like I said, link in description. Get in there. Everything's entirely for free. Best model in the space. Great community in the Discord. No reason you shouldn't be doing any of this. Watch these videos, backtest the strategy, and you'll see the results for yourself. Hope everyone has a good day, and I will see you all in the next trade recap.